If you're having issues with the integration between Josh and Crestron, there are a few places you should begin looking for debugging. First off, re-review all the documentation and make sure that you have a good understanding of how to program these things. There's also a tool built into Josh Portal called Crestron Debug. So if you type Crestron Debug in, it'll pop up here. If it doesn't pop up, just click the link right there. Basically, it'll show you all the WebSocket clients we have. Josh and Crestron connect and exchange information via WebSocket. So if you're noticing that, first off, the IP address of your Crestron processor isn't there, then it's not connected. If you're noticing that the connect time is very short, then it might be flickering in and out. And then if pings and pongs count aren't really lining up, that might be indicative of a poor network condition. If Crestron is experiencing errors, typically with the setup or the sort of programming, we'll try to populate some of those here. That could be like reusing a unique ID or using an invalid AV source on an AV room or something like that. If there's no errors showing up here and it is connected, that's a really good sign. We'll also show you the JSON of the configuration right here. So you can copy this into your favorite JSON beautifier and look at the configuration and see if anything stands out to you there. We also show you the module version so you can see what software we're on. I'm currently running the hopefully last release candidate of the next small update to the modules. And then we show you the processor firmware version that you passed into the client. The validation errors are sort of a Hail Mary, and it basically means if something is so wrong with this configuration that we can't create the devices to begin with, we'll try to populate something here. But as you can see, there are no errors, it's properly configured, and it's currently connected. You can also check the Crestron toolbox for two tools in particular. The first is a text console. I have a lot of logs in here that should be fairly introspective and hopefully give good direction on if you've programmed something incorrectly, what's wrong, and possibly how to fix it. So look for those populating in here. Generally, programming errors will be prefaced with sort of bracket, all caps, setup error, and then it'll tell you what's wrong. So if you see those, go back and review the documentation and then figure out how to make your program more correct. There are other errors which are sort of internal things, or Josh errors, which are sent from Josh to the Crestron processor to display to you. But this is a great place to start. So at all debug levels, those errors will be populated here. At the basic level, that's pretty much all. I think this is running basic or maybe warning, but you'll see that it's starting to connect to Josh. You'll see when it's connected and disconnected, stuff like that. If you have it at warning, we've got the warnings also, which are typically side effects of errors, but not always. That's a good level to keep it at. Those will not be sent to that Crestron debug tool that I showed you earlier. Info will show you more things like Josh setting device X to state Y. Debug will show you more about what's going on internally, like received message, stuff like that. And network debug will show you pretty much all of the information that's being exchanged. You should only really use that if you're having issues with discovery or things like this. The SIMPL debugger is also very good because you can observe the signals. The signals in particular you should look at are Josh begin connection. That is you indicating to us that we should start looking for a Josh system on the network. If this is low, it's not going to be looking for it. So if this is low and you expect it to be high and it's not connected, figure out why your program is setting this low. Oftentimes it's because a signal that comes as a pulse has not been latched high, because a pulse does not tell us to connect. It tells us to briefly try connecting and then almost immediately stop. Josh Connect F is how we indicate to you that we've connected to a Josh signal or a Josh server. If this is high and this is not high, that probably means something on your network is blocking discovery in some way, or they're not on the same network. Basically, they can't see each other and connect to each other. If this is high and this is low, but this information is populated, that might indicate that something on your network is blocking the WebSocket connection. This information is retrieved via the sort of broadcast discovery system, and then this is set high once we've successfully established a WebSocket connection. If this is low and these are blank, we just haven't found each other. And then the IP address is also useful. along with the server ID for debugging sometimes, so you can see which device on your network specifically it's connected to.